All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. I am Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in. And you can follow me at ScottTheCowGuyon on Twitter or X, whatever it is now. But that'll show you where I'm going. And I'm going to Mechanicsville, Virginia tomorrow to speak to a bunch of folks out there, the Virginia Soybean Association. So I'll be in front of them, get to meet some new people, talk a little bit about the markets, and maybe have a little bit of a good time. So looking forward to it. But now we want to really take a look and see what you've got going on with your money. Let's take a look at the markets. Let's start with that. We'll bring in corn. What's the corn board got for us? Well, that Swift technology shows us it's down 3.5 cents right now, 4.39 last. That's one tick off the low in March, right? The low was 4.39, just one tick off. 2.25 cents lower in the May to 4.51, and that too is one tick off the low. There's not a big change in the day. There's not a huge range, but we're just kind of trading heavy, leaking lower. Let's go to the soybeans and see what they've got in store for us. They are definitely going lower. We were up around 6.5, 7 cents earlier today. March lost the 12 handle, 11.98 last. Now we're only up a penny and 3/4. We've got May up 2.5 cents to 12.07 1/4. That's beans. Moving right along, he says. Let's go to the wheat in Chicago. The Chicago wheat market's up about 5 3/4 cents. 5.96 even is last, and that's only 3 ticks or 3/4 cent off the high of the day. And that's March wheat. May wheat, Chicago, 5 cents higher there to 6.04, and that's a penny and 1/4 off the high. That's Chicago wheat. Let's go to the Kansas City wheat, and that's the hard red. Hard red wheat in March is up 5.5 cents to 6.19 May is up 4 3/4 cents to 6.17 There you go. We're up between, say, 2 and 5.5 cents across the board in the hard red. If we move from the hard red in Kansas City over to the spring wheat in Minneapolis, we'll see that we've got about a 4 or 4.5 cent gain there. We'll go to the March. That's up 4 3/4 cents to 6.95 3/4, 3 cents off the high of the day, 5 3/4 cents off the low of the day. That's kind of pretty much right in the smack dab in the middle, right? We're 4 cents higher in the May to 6.97 All right. Cotton, that's one of our last ones we're going to look at, and we're going to get to our next guest analyst. 42 points higher there. 87.46 is last, and that's 22 points off the high of the day. There we go. Let's bring in our next guest analyst, and that would be the venerable Tommy Grisafi. He's with Advanced Trading, and I think he's in his mom's basement. No, he's in Bloomington. How are you, brother?
No. I'm in my mom's basement here in Valparaiso, Indiana. But right after this, I'm going to jump on a jet plane and come down and see you guys. I'm doing well. Not happy about how corn's trading, especially March corn. And the March corn trading lower is that is a reflection of how much corn the American farmer's holding. Because Deese is actually unchanged, Scott, and beans are doing a little better. Wheat's doing okay. The real story, we'll come back on it on segment 2, is the cattle, and we'll get to that. But the biggest thing I've noticed the last few days, Scotty, is that big move in interest rates from what you call the fake jobs report on Friday. And interest rates, Jay Powell and the 60 Minutes interview, interest rates are going to be a big discussion. So we have interest rates, an election, and policy. And all this is going to affect the American farmer. When I look over and see cattle up as much as they are and hogs down as much as they are, makes me think of Prop 12. And I know on Cow Guy Close you've done a lot of episodes on that. But the American farmer is going to have pushback, and we need to peacefully stay organized and get ready for problems over here. You know, we can't get pushed around. I like what the farmers are doing in France. I hope it's peaceful, although they're all grown men and women. I can't control their actions. But if we don't stand up for ourselves, us 1%, us 1%ers, then the 99 are going to run us over, brother. And for as much fun as it was to be on the show 2 years ago and talk about how high prices were, of course, they were high for the wrong reason. Russia invaded Ukraine. We're coming on the 2-year anniversary of that in a few weeks. Scott, I've said it on your show and others, is that the party was awesome, but the hangover is going to stink. We are officially at hangover period here in grains, where a few years ago we had a strong cash market, a strong basis, strong spreads, and strong futures. We are seeing the exact opposite of that. Cash soybeans in Aberdeen, South Dakota are 90 under the board. Back to you, my friend.
90 under the board, really? Wow, that's amazing. Well, I mean, you've said it, and a few others have too, and you like to deal in the truth. A lot of folks don't. There's a lot of carnival barkers in this business, but there have been reports of the farmer not or massively undersold. There's going to be the report of that the funds are massively short, but they're comfortably short because they know that if they turn to try to get out, there will be some farmer selling, right? I mean, it's inevitable. I was saying over $5. Now some of these analysts have dropped down their farmer selling. They think it'll come out around 490. But what do you real quick? What do you think about that?
Do you want to hear the good news before we go on break? The
Yeah.
good news is we know all the bad news, and I'm not being a smarty pants, and I know my mom's watching, so I don't want to get in trouble. The good news is we know all the bad news. Stay continued. Let's go on a commercial break. We'll be right back with more.
He's got a good internal clock. We're going to go away. We'll pay some bills. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back to Commodity Rep. Or no, that's not it. We're Market Day Report. I wrote it down too. Too many shows and a small brain. All right, let's talk about what we've got going on in the livestock. And as our guest analyst said, that's where the stuff's happening here today. We've got live cattle up, and look at that. Decent gains. April's up $3.67. Actually, very good gains. $3.67 higher to 186.02. And that's 55 cents off the high of the day. June's up $2.57 to 183.05. All right, we like that, don't we, folks? Moving on to the feeders. They're up. Look at that. March, $3.82 higher to 246.57. And what's interesting is we're about 52 cents away from the high of the day there. So there's still move to run to the upside. We were up $4, over $4 at one point in time today. We're up $3.25 in the April to 251.50. And that still has some room to run. 60 cents off the high of the day. There you go. All right. And then finally, this is the one that's not playing along with us. Lean hogs, a little bit grumpy. We've got April down 72 cents to 81.47. And that's 47 cents off the lows. Let's get back to Tommy Grisafi. He's with Advanced Trading in Valparaiso, the great Valparaiso, Indiana. I mean, those cattle boards look good, don't they?
They do. They do. Now, as much as we know all the bad news in the grains, and that's good that we know the bad news, here's the bad news for the cattle. And you earmark what day today is. What is today? 6th, 7th of February?
6th.
In a year or two from now, the cattle are going to have the same problem the grains have. So 2 years ago, and things were great. I'll give you an example. After Russia invaded Ukraine, sunflowers went crazy. I mean crazy, tripled in price. I have clients right now in North Dakota who can't get rid of their sunflowers. They're almost, I don't want to say no bid, but such a bad bid, you just rather hold them for a little bit. What's that have to do with cattle? Is that when the price of something goes up so much that we're actually hurting demand right now. So as pork is down and cattle is up, it's fun today to look at these prices, but mark my word, 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, it may not look so good. And cattle have a 2-year cycle, whereas hogs, we can reproduce hogs super fast, 2.5 batches a year. It takes 2 years to make a steak, even more. So it's fun to see the board up like this. I love seeing feeders up 400 and cattle up 250, but you're crushing demand. And not only within the U.S., you say so often on your show, the average working guy can't afford a big steak. We're becoming a hamburger society, Scotty, but you tell that Tom White guy that I'll be down there to buy him a steak tomorrow. And I remember when he was a crazy bond trader and then a crazy corn trader. Great to see another Chicago guy joining RFD TV, Scotty boy.
All right, brother. Well, I mean, to your point, it's going to be interesting in that cattle market, and it does take a longer time, the gestation period and all that. But I appreciate your comments, and I look forward to having you come down here and sitting in for me while I go out to see those great folks at the Virginia Soybean Association. So
it's an honor, brother. It's an honor. Thank you.
Fun. All right, brother. All right. Bring it back to Suzanne, and we'll let you take. I mean, it's a hard act to follow.